here. We out here on this. Y'all, we out here on some nut shit. Y'all already know what it is. Y'all already know what it is. Y'all already know what it is.
Wait, time out. I don't have a good song on. I don't even have a song on.
So I'm actually going to quickly start off with some follow-up news from last week's Monday episode. WAP by Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion debuted at number 1 this week with 93 million streams in the first week. This is somehow the most debut week, well, I should say first week streams of any song by any artist in 2020. And I saw somewhere it's like the largest single streaming week for a song in a good bit. I think it even bleeds into 2019 a little bit, but that number just blows my mind. I don't even know where a number that big really even comes from. Obviously, the song features 2 of the biggest artists out right now, let alone 2 of the 3 biggest female rappers, in the scene right now. But I mean, I would have thought that the Meg Thee Stallion and Beyonce remix would have done more numbers. That one didn't really have that much build up, so I guess that can attribute to it a little bit, but still. I could also kind of attribute that massive number a little bit to like the quote unquote controversy surrounding the song. I don't know if you could really call it controversy. It's just, like really just just like not very mature people just getting in a fuss about these women singing about these things, but whatever. I'll call it controversy for now. But, that paired with the much talked about music video that it came with, definitely attributed to it. That music video alone, I mean, I'm pretty sure Billboard records the numbers for first week sales from, midnight on Friday to, I would assume, 11:59 Thursday night. So, as of now, it's, well, when I wrote the script, it was 4:40 in the afternoon. Today, Monday the 17th, the YouTube views alone on the music video for WAP are up to 103 million plus and climbing. It's probably up to 104 by the time I'm recording this now, but that's just insane. First week, that's all essentially the first week. It's incredible. But anyway, welcome back to a new Music Monday. This is going to be a slightly shorter episode since there were, a bunch of songs, as with every week, there were a bunch of songs that I want to talk about today, but there were absolutely no albums that I listened to or found to be notable in the slightest bit. There was a Dave East album and a Burna Boy album that probably had a good bit of traction for some people, but I mean, neither of those artists really interest me, at least in terms of full-length albums, so I pass on both of those. But anyway, as we're doing, let's just start off with the songs that I wasn't really feeling this week. Starting off with Lemonade. There were 2 completely separate songs called Lemonade this week, but this first one that I'm going to be talking about is by Internet Money, Gunna, Don Toliver, and Nav. And I really just kind of clicked on this song because I like Don Toliver a good bit, and I wasn't very impressed by it. This is a pretty straightforward generic trap banger with actually a pretty good beat behind it, which, I mean, all trap beats essentially sound the same, but this one sounded a good bit better than some of the more generic ones I've heard in the past, or so recently, but, it's pretty generic as it goes, even with that. And, there's nothing special enough about it to make me think anything of it other than that. The best part about this song, honestly, is the fact that I couldn't pick out Nav's contribution. I don't know if he had, like, production credits or if he had a verse. I couldn't tell. But, Nav is horrible. I'm not the biggest fan of Gunna, but he didn't sound too bad. He never sounds bad. It's like the same, I just don't really feel like hearing him because he sounds like so many other people, or he just sounds so generic in his voice. But, this song is just kind of useless. It's not bad, really, but I can easily live without it, and I will continue to live without it. Next song I have is, this song is very heartbreaking to me that I have it on here, but I'll explain why it's on here. And it is called Levitating. It's the remix of Levitating by Dua Lipa, Missy Elliott, and Madonna. Honestly, this song it's mid at the worst. It's not bad, and honestly, it doesn't, I could have put this in, like, just my mid category, but the reason I have it on here is because I just don't need it. Honestly, like, while this remix is altered a decent bit, it's actually a good bit different from the original version that's on her album. and this song does have its merits. The original is slightly better to me overall, and I would listen to it over this remix every single time. Every single time. It's just not even close. Madonna's verse is essentially the same as Dua Lipa's original verse from the original song, and doesn't really add anything to the song other than just kind of having a slightly different voice singing like very similar lyrics. Missy Elliott's rapping verse isn't my favorite to listen to. It wasn't that enjoyable for me to listen to it, but at least it's at least a complete different. It's a complete change from, the original song, which, I mean, I'll commend it for. I can see the song growing on me a lot in the future, but for now, I'll pass on it. As I said, I will just listen to the original song. I like the original song a lot, and, I don't really need this song. Also, this is your weekly reminder to listen to Future Nostalgia by Dua Lipa. The next song I have on here is called Ultra Black by Nas and Hit Boy. And I've never really been, I feel like I should preface my opinion on this song by saying I've never really been a big Nas fan, despite his massive acclaim in the hip hop community, which, I mean, if you're in the hip hop community whatsoever, you know about Nas, not necessarily listen to his music, but you know of him. And I'm not a big Nas fan. His music doesn't really do anything for me, in really the slightest bit. Even when it came to like his collab album from 2 summers ago with Kanye, I mean, obviously I listened to it and I liked it enough so, but I really just kind of liked it for the Kanye reasons, just being like the production was really good, and there were some songs in there that I did like, but overall, like, I don't find myself returning to that album at all. And it hasn't even been that long. 2 years isn't that long when it comes to albums if they're good enough, but whatever. This is another song on my list that isn't really objectively bad, and the messaging is something I can, somewhat relate to as like a Black American, but no part of this song really left an impression on me enough where I just felt the need to like add it to my library to play it again, or to really play it again outside of, talking about it for this podcast. Just didn't really feel like listening to it afterwards. I also think that it's funny because the one thing that that some of you guys might have seen on social media about this, talking about this song, is the Doja Cat diss. I mean, I guess it's a diss, whatever. It's a really random diss. It's like Doja Cat got like the weirdest stray from Nas. And, it came off really random, and I mean, I guess unwarranted from my lens. It seemed pretty unwarranted, and it was clearly done for additional clicks. I don't see why someone like Nas would, who has so much just like acclaim in the community and has so much notoriety, why he would feel the need to just take like this random ass shot at Doja Cat, who really has no say in the community whatsoever, and whatever. And if, in a situation, a lesser known artist, this wouldn't be a big deal, and I wouldn't feel the need to comment on it. But like a rap icon like Nas, when he does it, it just comes off as cheesy. And it was really, as I was looking on social media, it's like the biggest reason why people were talking about this song, which, isn't the best reason for someone to talk about a song. I mean, a diss is always going to get clicks and is always going to get social media attention, especially now. But when you're someone like Nas who doesn't necessarily need to resort to like just cheap industry tricks to get people to listen to your music, it comes off bad. Next song I have is The Second Lemonade by Youngblood and Denzel Curry. And actually, just like the original Lemonade, I only came in here for one artist, and it was Denzel Curry. And sadly, his verse was not nearly enough to carry this poorly put together, cheaply produced, absolute mess of a song. Horrible song. The song isn't even 3 minutes long, but it's still more time than you should waste listening to it. Just don't listen to it at all. Next song I have on here is called Automatic. I really don't have any. Sorry, going back to, I really don't have anything to say about that song. It's just, there's just nothing to it. It's not good at all. Denzel's verse is fine, but it's like you could just listen to any other Denzel Curry song or verse and have a much better listening experience than resorting to this song. Next song I have is called Automatic by Jack Harlow, and I actually think I've talked about Jack Harlow once before on this podcast, and I think he's honestly pretty talented as a rapper, but this song, in my opinion, is not a very good showing of that talent. His flow, his energy are, again, just like terribly lax. They're just kind of, I mean, I guess it's just the style of the song, or the style that he chose to have for this song, but to me it's just like, it's just not very fun to listen to. It doesn't have, the song in general doesn't have enough energy for me to listen to, and then the content doesn't really reflect on that energy, if that makes sense. It's not an upbeat song, but it has like a more upbeat content matter. It's not very like serious. It's not like a deep cut, so there's no reason that it should be this kind of lax, but whatever. And the instrumental does not help at all. It is absurdly annoying. I mean, insanely repetitive instrumentals are hard to listen to, especially for me, where it's just like, I like complex instrumentals. I also like simple instrumentals sometimes, but you need to, if the instrumental is going to be super simple or super repetitive or super annoying or super in your face, then everything else about the song has to be really good. A good example of that is Otis by Kanye West and Jay-Z, which for the longest time I absolutely hated because I hate that instrument. I hate how just in your face the loop is and the sample that they use for that is. But the verses on that song are absurdly good. So it makes up for it. I can listen to that song. I love that song now because I can appreciate the verses. It's the complete opposite for this song. The instrumental's bad. The verses are bad. The energy's bad. Everything about this song is bad. And again, I came away from this song feeling like I never have to listen to this song ever again. And the last song I have for my Don't Bother Listen To section is called Rainbow Bop. Oh god, whatever. Doesn't even matter. By Jaden Smith. This song is boring. Actually, I think I pretty much have the exact same opinion on this song that I did on the last Jaden Smith song I mentioned. It's just boring. Like, Jaden is just doing just regular Jaden Smith stuff. I actually think it's kind of did he always go by Jaden? I think on his first two albums he might have gone by Jaden Smith. Maybe he went by Jaden. I don't know. It's notable if he's just going by Jaden now, but whatever. He's just doing his regular, on this song, he's doing his regular surface level introspection and, I guess, deep thinking that, like, he kind of got memed about when he first came into music, just like, whatever. Just, those, you guys remember those weird tweets that he had, 4 or 5 years ago when he was just saying, like, random stuff. Yeah, it's just kind of that, just in song form. And it's kind of tired at this point. And, it's fine it's not fine, but, it's different if you're, as an artist, you're kind of talking about the same things and sounding the same if you're good at it, like Rick Ross is. But Jaden Smith is no Rick Ross by any extent, and this song is just boring, and it's just formulaic, and it's just meh. It's just super meh at the absolute best. The instrumental is kind of pretty, but I can't help but thinking that the instrumental itself deserves a much better song for it to be included in. I'm just not a fan whatsoever. And yeah, leaving that section and going into the songs that I think were mid this week, the first song I have is called So Done by Alicia Keys and Khalid. And this is not exactly the collaboration that I was looking for or was really expecting by any extent of my imagination. And honestly, when they're singing together on the chorus of the song, they kind of go with the chorus first. I didn't think I wanted to hear them collab again, but as the song progressed, I realized that, or I didn't realize, but they sound great separately. They sound very good separately. And in fact, that's really the only reason I have this song in mid, is because I don't like how the chorus sounds, which is a very strong part of this. And it's really a part of the song that two people who, I mean, Alicia Keys has one of the greatest voices in R&B or in soul or whatever you want to call the music that she makes. And Khalid, I'm still kind of iffy on his voice. I think he has his moments, vocally. But, I wouldn't say he's the best vocalist that I've heard in R&B or in pop R&B, whatever you want to call he makes, whatever genre of music you think he makes, or people will say he makes. But, I would expect these two to have a much better chorus together on a song together. But, it sounds weird to me. It's not bad, but it just sounds like off to me in some way. I can't really describe it. But if you guys go out and listen to it, you'll hear what I'm talking about. It sounds weird. But separately, however, is a completely different story. Like, they both sound really, really, really good on each of their verses, especially Khalid, who definitely knew that he would have to bring his A game, or his A+ game, in order to keep up with the likes of Alicia Keys, who, again, like I said, is an acclaimed vocalist and talented singer. And he pulled it off. Like, I like his verse more than, or I like the sound of his verse for the most part more than Alicia Keys's. It just sounds good. It's probably up there in terms of like the upper echelon of Khalid songs or verses to me. But, I'm not the biggest Khalid fan overall. So, what is my opinion in that aspect? But, this is not the best R&B song in the world. And it's definitely not the best R&B song on this list. But it definitely has some great moments, and for that, I think it earns a listen for you guys. I think you guys should definitely go check it out. The next song I have is called Cut 'Em In by Anderson .Paak and Rick Ross. And again, honestly, the only reason why this song is in mid is because kind of similar to the Alicia Keys and Khalid song, Rick Ross kind of sounds awkward rapping over the instrumental that the song has. Not to say that he did a bad job with his verse, but it's just that Anderson .Paak, the way that he just kind of has, the way that his presence is on a song, and especially his strong presence on this particular song, you either kind of have to match it or just get the hell out of the way. And Rick Ross is not, at least for the first part. It's weird. He kind of like, it doesn't seem like he can find the pocket at first, and then when the beat does its little switch, or not switch, but when it kind of gets into the second part of it, then he kind of finds the pocket. So, I mean, it's not bad. Again, it's not bad by any means. It's just kind of like, you can tell that he wasn't comfortable rapping on the beat when it first came in, and then he kind of found it, as he got more accustomed to it. At least that's what it sounded like to me. Maybe you guys can hear it, but, he sounds good. It's Rick Ross. He sounds good regardless. But, it's just not the instrumental that you would typically find Rick Ross rapping on. Going back to Anderson .Paak, however, if you're not familiar with him, again, it's Anderson spelled like Anderson and it's Paak spelled like P-A-A-K. If you're not familiar with him, he is easily one of the most talented people in music right now. Just one of the most objectively talented people in music. He can sing. He can play a myriad of instruments. Like so many, I can't name them. He can play like drums, piano, a whole bunch. I can't name them all, but he can rap. He can do everything, and then he can do everything insanely well too. And I should have mentioned that last week when I talked about his remix with Lockdown, but honestly, I kind of got distracted by that JID verse. But whatever, he's fantastic. Definitely go check out his music if you're into if you're just into genuinely good music, all around good music. Definitely go check out his catalog. You won't be disappointed, I promise. But, I mean, even if you want to just kind of check out like a newer or recent Anderson .Paak song to check out what he's about, this is a good example because on this song, when he's singing in his song, it sounds good. When he's rapping in this song, it sounds good. I'm not sure if he did the instrumentals on the song, but if he did, those sound great as well. The song just sounds pretty good. It's just a pretty well-made song. Again, it's not my favorite Pac song in the world, and it's definitely not my favorite Rick Ross feature in the world. So I'm not going to sit here and say it deserves to be on my list of favorite songs this week. but like the song before this, it definitely deserves a listen at the least. So go check it out. Again, it's called Cut 'Em In by Anderson .Paak and Rick Ross. Next song I have is called Tonight by Elena Castillo, whatever. Her name is spelled Alaina, Elena, whatever, and then Castillo, Kastillo. And honestly, I'm not sure why I clicked on this song. Honestly, I think I thought she was a different artist. I've never heard of her before, but I think when I clicked on the song, I thought she was a completely different artist that I was familiar with. And, I really just happened to stumble upon this song. But when I did, I was treated to a pretty catchy bubblegum-esque pop song when I did. And I wasn't disappointed. I thought it's cool. I really don't have much to say about this song because there really isn't anything especially great about it, objectively speaking. But I liked it a good bit, so I thought I'd just kind of mention it here. It's pretty basic in terms of as bubblegum pop goes. But, every once in a while, it's nice to throw bubblegum pop in there. It's like a palate cleanser to me at this point. There's just gonna be like, I'm so saturated with hip-hop and R&B. It's just nice to throw just like a very pop song in there every once in a while, just to get my palate cleansed, if you know what I mean. But yeah, go check that out if you're into pop. It's decent. Nothing great, but decent. The next song I have is called Snail by Benet. Again, this is the same Benet that I talked about 2 weeks ago. It was the Logic episode. I can't remember what episode that was, but Benet is spelled Benee. And I really don't know what to call this song. I don't really know what genre it would really go into to really give you guys like a description of what it would sound like. It's alt pop, alt R&B. I don't know. I really don't know, but it sounded really interesting to me when I listened to it in terms of like just the way that the song sounded. And honestly, that was enough to make me add it to my library. Benet's vocals are pretty fun to listen to, and I mean the whole song in general is pretty fun to listen to. It's kind of all over the place and kind of creatively structured and sounding and organized and whatever. But it makes you want to dance a slight bit, or at the absolute least kind of nod your head, so there's that. This song is pretty good though, so go check it out. And the last song I have in mid is called iPhone by Rico Nasty. And oh baby, the age of hyperpop is here. This song is just insane. It sounds insane. It is jarring. I mean, the ungodly, and when I say ungodly, I don't want to use that term lightly. The ungodly high-pitched vocals mixed with like the jarring, harsh heavy metal hits, heavy metal guitar hits. I shouldn't say heavy metal, but just hard rock / metal guitar hits, electronic effects, trap, and like just a pretty relatively generic trap beat, just intertwined in between all those things. It creates this environment that you will either absolutely love or just absolutely hate. And that's kind of reflective of the genre of hyperpop in a nutshell. You will either, at least now in 2020, you will either hate it or you will love it. And honestly, I saw there's a group or a duo called 100 Gex who I'll mention as they had a contribution to this song, but there's a duo called 100 Gex spelled Gecs, and 100 just the number 100, 100. Their debut album called, oh gosh, what's it called? I forget what it's called, but go look them up if you're interested into seeing what I'm talking about. They came out in 2019, I believe, and they made some pretty big waves in the music community because they are what I would, from my knowledge of them and from the music, what the music landscape sounds like now, they are probably the front runners in this what I'm seeing is called hyperpop, the genre. They're like the front runners of it. They're I guess you can call them the pioneers of it in a way. But everything that this song is essentially what this hyperpop sounds like. Maybe a little bit. This song is a little bit toned down to just kind of be, I think, a little bit more accessible in terms of how it sounds to the general public. But it's it's jarring. I'll say it's jarring to say the least. I'll just say that. Rico is almost made for this. Rico Nasty, if you're not familiar with her work, she's a rapper, but she's kind of been like, I guess you can call it, I guess in a way you can call it alt hip hop, but she is, the instrumentals that she picks, the tone that she's kind of like a metal R&B artist in a way, and to an extent. I don't want to say she's kind of like Denzel Curry in that way, but maybe like older Denzel Curry, where he's just kind of like screaming into the microphone and rapping. She's kind of similar in that aspect, but she's made for this. She's absolutely made for music like this. Her verses, her chorus are fun as hell to listen to, and you can tell she definitely had a lot of fun making this song. And she's all about like chaotic rapping. I talked about her on last week's podcast as she was featured on this song with, what's her name? Whatever. If you listen to my last week's podcast, you know what I'm talking about. But her performance on here is fantastic, and she fits into this relatively new genre perfectly. I find myself liking this song and its style in concept, but again, like I said, it's a very new sound to get a grasp on, and it's very like I said, it's very jarring. I don't know how else to really, articulate what it sounds like. You just have to listen to it. It is, and again, you're gonna either love it at first, or you're gonna absolutely hate it at first. But it's gonna take a lot. It's gonna take some time for me to get used to the sound. But I do like it. Like, and I know I will like it. So, after I listen to it for a few more weeks, a few more days, I'm definitely going to like it a lot more. That's the only reason I haven't admitted, is because I know I'm going to like it a lot. Just right now, I'm just kind of still, I'm still getting used to the sound. And like I said, I think it's worth mentioning that this song was produced in part by one half of the hyperpop duo 100 Gex. And, if you like this song, be sure to go check out their music, because it's essentially the same thing. And I tried to listen to their album, but like I said, I think I just need to. It's just like their album is just all hyper pop music, and it is a lot more in your face than this song is. So if you like this song and you like the kind of style that it is, definitely go check their last album out. Again, I'm forgetting the name off the top of my head, but I believe they only have one album out. Go check them out. Again, this is iPhone by Rico Nasty, and then 100 Gex. Okay, so moving on to the best of the best this week. I have 5 songs in here. Some of them 2 of them I have a lot to talk about. The other 3 are kind of, they're just good. So they're just good. Go listen to all these songs, but whatever. First song is called Better, and it is by Ricky Reed, Leon Bridges, and Kiana Lede. And you can already tell, if you've heard this podcast before, why I clicked on this song, and that is for Kiana Lede. Because Kiana Lede is fantastic. But this is a more laid-back R&B jam with a bit of a bop to it. I came to the song, like I said, I came to the song purely for Kiana Lede, and I left with, surprisingly, another great addition to my favorite songs of the year. Everything about this song just screams windows down, wind in your face, cruise down the highway, country road, whatever. You're just enjoying the last of summer. That's just what this song sounds like. It's amazing. Every single artist on here has a great vocal performance, and it's delivered over this near perfect / perfect groovy, low-key instrumental. It's great. Everyone should go listen to this song immediately. I don't want to, again, it's almost like the more I like the song, the less I have to say about it, just because I just like everything about it. So, but yeah, I'm going to be playing this song for a long time. I think all you guys should go check this out for sure. It's fantastic. Again, it's called Better by Ricky Reed, Leon Bridges, and Kiana Lede. Next song I have is called Hard on Yourself by Charlie Puth and Black Bear. And it's rare when it happens, but my God, does my soft spot for Charlie Puth vocals show in this song. Every time he's heard on this song, it's butter. Like, his voice is just butter. This might be my favorite song by him, honestly, just kind of off recent memory, what I can hear, what Charlie Puth songs I can hear in my head. This probably is my favorite Charlie Puth song that I've heard, at least in a good while. I mean, and I mean, like, it just sounds good. I like Charlie Puth every once in a while. I like him as a vocalist more than him as like a pop singer, if that makes sense. Like, I like him more than like the songs that he makes for the most part. But this song is just equal parts great for him and great for the song. I also got some flashbacks to 2017 when I heard Black Bear's voice, because I haven't liked a Black Bear song in so long, or really since 2017 with his album, which again is slipping my mind. I could look it up, but I don't really care them enough. If you heard about it, if you heard about Black Bear, then you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, go check out that album. There are only a few songs on that album that I really loved, but I should probably revisit that album. I forget what it's called, but it's good. It's fine. But yeah, excuse me. But yeah, hearing Black Bear's verse or voice on this song just instantaneously threw me back to 2017, which was a nice feeling. It was nice to just get thrown back into the past like that. But, both of their voices sound really great, surprisingly great together. I would have, again, I love it just getting random collaborations that I would have never thought to ever exist that just end up sounding great like these. Like this collaboration right here. But both of their voices sound very good together, and the song kind of exists in this stylistic middle ground between the two of their styles of music, and I think that each artist needs to, explore this same middle ground more. This isn't the most complex song ever, and honestly, it's pretty basic when it comes to subject matter, as it's just basically it's just a pretty normal pop song, but, it is leaps and bounds better than I thought it would be on first glance. Go listen to the song, if it's not playing on the radio yet already. Next song I have is called All Mine by They, spelled, like the pronoun, and I have a pretty decent love-hate relationship with the pop R&B duo They, as their music is really just super hit or miss to me. This song, however, is a massive hit as far as I'm concerned. Super short, super concise, super basic, super catchy, and super fun to listen to. It's just a good song. I like it, or at least I think it's a really good song. It's really basic. I shouldn't say there's nothing special about it. It's just that it does everything as well as it should have been done, if that makes sense. The vocals are sharp and fantastic, as They has pretty good, it's weird saying that, but the group, I think it's just two of them, so maybe just the duo, they have really good vocal performances on most of their songs, but some of them are just kind of structured, so they're pretty just kind of basic to listen to. But this song is really great, and again, not too much to say about this one critically, but I just like it a lot. So go check it out. Again, it's called All Mine by They. Next song I have, we're gonna get into the two big hitters this week in terms of singles. First one being called Midnight Sky by Miley Cyrus. And what I will say about this song is inject this music style just directly into my veins. This reimagined pop disco sound that artists are dipping into this year, like Lady Gaga's Chromatica and Dua Lipa's aforementioned Future Nostalgia, are just really doing it for me. The sound is just really doing it for me this year in 2020. It's just every time, if you want me to listen to her album, just make it pop disco in style. I will listen to it and I will love it. Miley surprisingly doesn't drop the ball on this grand, I guess, return to music. I guess it's not a return to music. She just takes random breaks, extended breaks in music. I'm just gonna call this a return to music. And I say that she surprisingly doesn't drop the ball because I'm not the biggest. Well, I'm not the biggest Miley Cyrus fan. I'm especially not the biggest fan of her voice. That's really the only reason why I'm not a big Miley Cyrus fan, just because I don't think her voice is good, really, at all. Or at least I don't like it. But, well, actually, the only slightly negative thing that I have to say about this album, about this song, is that I would much rather have really anyone else perform it instead of Miley Cyrus. And by anyone else, I mean just kind of I mentioned Lady Gaga, Dua Lipa. I could see Katy Perry doing this song all right. I could see I'll just keep it to those three just because I just don't want to just create a list out of thin air without thinking about it too much. But I can definitely see those three artists killing this song, absolutely destroying this song vocally. You know, like I said, I've never been a big fan of her voice, and this song does not change my mind. But that being said, every other part of this song is absolutely immaculate. For me as a listener, just absolutely immaculate. Nothing, no gripes whatsoever. It's just her voice. And it's just, like, I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad. It just gets carried heavily by the song as a whole, by every other part of the song. And again, it would have sounded much better. It would have been the perfect song if a better vocalist, you know, had it. But whatever. It is what it is. I mean, I love this song. I love this song. And if listening to it means that I have to hear Miley Cyrus's voice every day for the foreseeable future, then so be it. Definitely go listen to this song if you have not already. And the last song that I will talk about today is called Laugh Now, Cry Later by the streaming giant himself, Drake, featuring Lil Durk. Or I should say, Lil Durk. I mean, you know, gotta talk about it. New Drake alert. You gotta talk about it. And really, I should say, more importantly, this is a Drake lead single alert, which is way more, way more notable than a new Drake song in general. To be completely honest, after the first few listens, I wasn't too sure about this song. In a way, it doesn't really have anything that stands out by Drake standards. But in the same breath, I can say that by all accounts, this is a Drake song. This is like the textbook Drake song. You know, this is headlines. This is Western Road flows. This is You and the Six. This is Over. This is Drake. This song is just everything that makes Drake Drake. And it's nice to hear, honestly. It's not groundbreaking by any means for Drake, but it's familiar, and in that respect, I like it a good bit. It sounds familiar. It sounds like, it just sounds like it gives you that warm feeling when an artist you like and have been listening to for years makes a song that just sounds exactly like they did. Like, Drake could have made this song in 2013. He could have. He might not have had that much money yet, but he could have. And it would have sounded essentially the same. Everything here is distinctively Drake. The fanfare of horns in the instrumental, the slower semi, I don't want to say introspective tempo because that doesn't really make much sense, but it's kind of like the tempo that you kind of would hear an artist just kind of get deeper with their lyrics on. Just that kind of slow tempo, the subtle bragging, the not so serious attitude, the creative subs at, Kanye nonetheless. That Gap bar was good. There were some really good disses in here. There were some really good Kanye disses in here. Like, insanely good. Drake is top 2 and is top 3 and he's not 3. And he might be top 2 and he's not 2 of just like subtle disses, honestly. He might be the king of that. Honestly. Him and Taylor Swift's up there too. And it might just because they're both aimed at Kanye, but whatever. But all that stuff, everything, it's all distinctively Drake. Lil Durk honestly struck me. I didn't actually listen to this song at midnight like I usually listen to like big releases like this, because I knew this song was coming out, but I actually woke up in the morning and listened to this song on the way to work, and when I searched for it on Spotify, I was very surprised to see that. Well, I was surprised to see that there was a feature on it, because I knew this song was advertised and promoted as again, like I said, a lead single for Drake's upcoming album, and I was kind of surprised to see a feature on it, and I was very surprised to see the feature being Lil Durk of all people. Not that Lil Durk isn't, or not to say that Lil Durk is like a bad artist, but Drake just kind of pulls random artists out of the woodwork sometimes to work with him. But for the most part, Drake knows historically Drake knows what he's doing in terms of just quote unquote random features. So it is what it is. Durk didn't sound too bad on his verse. It was really short, which I guess is fine. Again, I didn't love it, so I didn't love Durk's contribution. I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it either, but it just didn't do a whole lot for me. So I didn't really mind that it was short, but it wasn't bad, but it definitely was not enough to make me run and go see what Lil Durk has been up to since I don't even know when the last time I've listened to a Lil Durk song was, but whatever. It was fine, but it is what it is. The music video itself, while essentially being an insanely long and expensive Nike commercial is like, I enjoyed watching it. It was funny. Like, I thought it was very funny. I thought it was a really well made music video. And, you know, if you're not too familiar with it, it was filmed, the entirety of the music video was filmed at Nike headquarters in Oregon, which is sick, which is really cool, which is one of the things that only Drake can really do. You know, riding jet skis in the lake outside Nike headquarters is really only a thing Drake can do. And maybe LeBron, but, you know, LeBron's got, you know, he's got to stay in the bubble. Excuse me, but whatever. And honestly, the best part about this Drake video, and again, I have to commend the song for being just so Drake, because the music video itself is just, you know, Drake has, in every time you see Drake in like a music video, like another one that comes to mind is, or another recent example that comes to mind is the music video that he did with Chris Brown for, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the song, but it came out last summer. Wow, my memory is horrible when it comes to this stuff. This is what happens when you write a script and you just have, and you choose to digress from the script. You end up just completely forgetting about, just completely losing your mind about this stuff. But whatever, you guys know what I'm talking about. That the Chris Brown song off his last album last year that had Drake on it. The music that they did for that, it's the same thing. Drake has this very carefree attitude when it comes to self-image, artistically. Like, he's a rapper, but he doesn't take himself very seriously like most rappers would, which I like. And it's cool to see, especially in a music video like this. You know, he's just like fake crying and doing like the baby, just a weird little, I guess they're not ad-libs, but the weird little additions to the song that only Drake can, and not get absolutely killed for it. It's great. I loved it. Needless to say, this is a great single to start off the rollout for his upcoming album, and I am very, very, very excited to see what comes of the album when it comes out eventually. I assume it's coming out relatively soon. He said it was going to come out in summer. Not that you should ever really believe an artist's loose release date schedule, but whatever. I'm assuming it's coming out either late August, even though we're halfway through August at this point, or early September. But, you know, when it comes out, again, I'll be here to talk about it. And that does it for today's New Music Monday. Again, I'm sorry for not having any albums to talk about today, but hopefully you guys can find a few songs from this episode to walk away with. In terms of Thursday's episode, it has been, okay, what I will say is that it has been 16 episodes, and I've restrained myself more than enough. Thursday will finally be my first Kanye-centric episode, which I'm already having fun planning. I've been, you know, I actually kind of had the idea while I was writing the script for what I was going to talk about on Thursday, and I just went off. I already started writing the script for that because I was so excited. I was having so much fun thinking of it. But, you know, hopefully you guys will have fun listening to it. And again, what I'll say is, you know, Kanye's my favorite artist. So I don't want to say that it's going to be that episodes that are Kanye centric are going to be of a higher, I guess, quality than like my normal episodes. But what I will say is that I would say that I know a lot more about Kanye music, and I'm way more versed on Kanye music, pun intended. So I will definitely have way better insight on the things I will be talking about. So hopefully they'll be more interesting for you guys to listen to. So be sure to come back on Thursday night or Friday morning, whenever you guys listen to these podcasts, so you can hear Stan Nick in action. And with that, I have been Nick Hope. This has been the Bittersweet Taste Podcast, and I will talk to you all again on